Well, I'm a financial planner, and as a financial planner, we tend to have a relationship with our clients, usually a long-term relationship. We get to know them over time. We get to know their families, and so when these events occur, oftentimes they reach out to us, get in touch with us, and see what suggestions we have for them. Well, there's a couple reasons. First and foremost, I became familiar with them because we used them for my mother. So we had firsthand knowledge, and that really helps. But after that, I've gotten to know them personally as well, a lot of the staff, and they have a different feel. I think there's a certain empathy there that I don't always see. Some of them feel more like a business. With Harmony, I really feel like they're coming forward and they're there to help. I find a lot of the most senior people in our community, they grew up being savers. They have a saver's mindset. So all their life they put away and they've saved for a rainy day. But what I often run into is they have a hard time flipping the switch, as I like to say. So now that they've reached that point where the rainy day has come and they need to spend the money, they have a very difficult time in doing that. So I like to forewarn that that may be the case and offer my services and assistance in speaking to them and explaining to them that the rainy day is here and this is why they saved and they did without all those years. And I enjoy being able to help with that conversation. Well, both for the client and their family, oftentimes I'm dealing with the family as well, and there's a comfort level that occurs knowing that there's a safety and security of somebody there who's going to care for them when they can't be there. I think that's the biggest thing, that worry tends to dissipate. Are they going to have an issue that they can't take care of themselves? Knowing that Harmony's involved and the caregivers are there gives a great sense of comfort and relief to both the patient, but I think oftentimes even more so the family. My mother had a stroke. One day, she used to like to say, she was carrying in a big box of water bottles from Sam's Club, strong and able to do so. The next day, she was in the hospital and her left arm didn't work. And so after the stroke, she came home for a while, and Harmony came in. They were terrific. They actually met us at the rehab and explained the process and talked to us and found out what our needs were and what we needed, and ultimately provided care in her home for many, many months. To the person who needs the assistance themselves, I would tell them to do it oftentimes for everybody else around them. A lot of people are, again, I find that generation, which is oftentimes referred to as the greatest generation for good reason, but they're very stoic and they don't want anybody to have to take care of them, or they don't want to be a burden on anybody to take care of them. And I often point out to them that you're actually making it easier on those around you by letting somebody care for you so they don't have to worry. So I had a client that husband and wife, and he became very frail at home, and he really needed some assistance. Very well-to-do gentleman, financially speaking, but was that way for a reason because he'd been very frugal all his life. And his 80-plus-year-old wife was really caring for him, and it was very difficult for her. And they're clients of mine. And so they came in the office, and I really was strongly trying to persuade him that he needed some home health care. And he said, how much does it cost? And he really wasn't sure about it. And so I asked him, I said, his name was George. I said, George, did you do without things so you could put money away for a rainy day and try and save and put money away? He said, oh yeah, we always didn't try and keep up with the Joneses, and we put money away. I said, well, George, it's raining like hell. It's time, you really, for Betty's sake, you really need to get some help. And they did, and I felt real good about that. So, because I think it's the most comfortable place for him to be. There's always a comfort in being in your own home as long as it is possible to do so. I don't think that there's any of us, senior or not, that wouldn't prefer to be in our own home. It's not to say that there aren't places that can be good places to go ultimately if you need to, but I think most of us, myself included, would rather stay in my own house as long as possible.